It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Tarosian, and this isn't a full episode of Ram View. I wanted to get on now. I'm not going to be able to do a full show and get it in before the game starts, and Indiana-Oregon's a big game, so I'm probably going to be live tomorrow morning and at about 8:30 or so, and we'll do a full show then, a game day preview of Rams and Panthers. So big weekend of sports, big weekend of football. Great game last night. I didn't really care, but I was happy Miami won in the end, so it was good to see. But Rams are getting ready to go to Carolina. Everyone's feeling really confident. I think you should feel confident. My issue with this, however, is people who are just thinking that it's just going to be a steamroll. And like I'd like to share again, words of riff is the Carolina Panthers, those are down boys. They want a piece of this world too. And I don't think they're just going to roll over and die. If the Rams are playing no-nonsense football, they should blow them out. We haven't seen them play no-nonsense football for quite a while. And so even last week, it was no nonsense in the fourth quarter, but the first three quarters was a lot of nonsense. So I'm going to hang around here for about 15 minutes or so. And we'll get into anything you guys want to talk about in the next 15 minutes. But after 15 minutes, I am going to go. So we can get everything set up for tomorrow uninterrupted. So let's do a couple of things here. I think this is kind of funny before we break it down. I never put this stuff at the top of the show, but because today is a little bit awkward.
It was a stone group, my man.
On this day in 1969, George Allen was hired for the second time by the Rams. He got rehired by Dan Reeves, the owner at the time. Remember, he had been fired at the end of the 68 season, and Rams players protested. They brought him back in 69, and then the 69 season that fall, the Rams started off 11-0. On this date, 1978, Chuck Knox resigns. That was a shocker. That was the first time I ever took a hit in terms of coaching. I picked up the Rams the last 6-7 games of the 72 season, and nobody liked Tommy Prothro, so there was never an issue there. But when Chuck Knox left after the Mud Bowl, it was interesting. And, of course, that led immediately to Chuck Knox coming back. I'm sorry, George Allen coming back. On this day in 1991, after a disastrous 1990 season, remember the Rams had gone to the NFC title game in 89. They fell apart in 90, and I don't know if they were 6-10 or 5-11, but the glow was gone. The bloom was off the rose, the Jim Everett. And John Robinson kept his job, but Artie Giacchino, Fred Winningham, Fritz Shermer, Jairo Penaranda, even Larry Brooks and Steve Schaefer, they were all canned. A week later, January 16th, 1991, the Rams hired, I know I'm not supposed to say this name, Jeff Fisher to be the defensive coordinator. And in 1990, Kevin Green had 13 sacks. In Jeff Fisher's new system, Kevin Green had 3 sacks. And let you know how things worked out there. On this day in Rams history, former Ram cornerback Marcus Peters turns 32 today. I don't think he's been in the league for a while. He was actually a first-round pick out of University of Washington by KC in 2015. Also, I wanted to get this one in because it just deserves mentioning. We won't go into great detail. On this day in 2006, Jack Snow passed away at the age of 62. Also, on this day in 2021, Rams went up to Seattle after John Wolford got the start in week 17 to get the Rams into the playoffs. He started the playoff game, hurt his neck. Goff, who had a thumb injury, came in, finished the game. Rams won 30-20. That was also on a Saturday. Darius Williams got a pick 6. Matt Gay had 3 field goals. Robert Woods got a 15-yard touchdown pass from Goff. And then on this day in 2022, which was the end of the 2021 season, the Rams lost that overtime game to the 49ers, which made us all miserable. And the Rams still had to go the long way. They had to go to beat the Cardinals. They had to beat the they had to beat the Buccaneers at home and then come back to SoFi and then beat the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, big day in Rams history. Just good stuff to remember. I'm glad you guys are here. Mike Gutierrez, hoping for the best but expecting the worst with the rain. I am hoping for the best. I believe in the best, but I think I'm sober to the point where anything is possible with this team. And again, one fourth quarter against Arizona doesn't just reboost all my positives. I'm still a Ram fan. I've been accused of not being a Ram fan, but sometimes in the horns up community, if you speak truth, it's the worst thing you can do. Steeler fan Rob, Carolina might do it again. Steeler fan Rob, I know that you're rooting for this big time for Carolina to win, and they could possibly do it again. And I know you want it to happen because if Tomlin suddenly proves mortal on Monday night, you're going to need something to alleviate your pain. And if you win and the Rams lose, you're not going to show any mercy to us. And I'll tell you this, Steeler fan Rob, if the Rams win and the Steelers lose, it's open season on the Pittsburgh Aluminums. So think about that. Mikey Gutierrez, at least our game is first so we can get it over with. Very good. Yes, it is. It is first so we can get it over with. ESG, Carolina is hoping for the rain can stop because hoping the rain can stop the Rams because they sure can't. Again, I go back to that game. Stafford threw a ball off a helmet and it hit a helmet. I mean, you're really going to hold him responsible and tear him down for that? That cost the Rams a touchdown. The pick six, obviously, right? We understand the big play to Chuba Hubbard and then 2 scores on fourth down. These things happened. These things don't usually happen. These things hadn't happened to that point. It is easy to move off of. And so I am positive for the Rams. I'm just not going to be surprised, right? I'm not going to break anything. $5 Steve. I remember Jimmy the Greek predicting that Chuck Knox was out. Oh, you know what? That was on the NFL Today, right? I remember that. Yeah, I think I remember. I think that was on NFL Today. I do have a memory of that, Steve. Good pull. Last night's game was great. I loved Miami winning that game. I was kind of rooting for both teams because I like Cristobal, and I thought every time Ole Miss did something, it just stuck a hot knife into the Lane Kiffin legacy. So I was good either way. I think, honestly, if you want the two best teams, it should end up with Indiana versus Miami. Now, I know $5 Steve is rooting for Oregon because of family ties. I'm all for Indiana, right? I'm all in on Fernando Mendoza. I have drunk the Kool-Aid. I have crossed the Mendoza line. I am all in on that game tonight. Let's see. ESG, let me get you in there, ES. Let me see. All year, the only team that really gave the Rams offense trouble was with Houston, and that was before 13 personnel. And then again, also, that first game of the season for the Rams is that's the first time our starters are getting on the field. Everything has got an odd feel to it. I remember thinking the Rams are going to win this game. I never doubted the Rams beating the Texans. It was just an issue of just surviving it and getting through it. I didn't expect it to look pretty. And I'll tell you the truth, the Texans don't scare me now. I do think Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter, they're a smidgen bit overrated. I think a Ram team firing on all cylinders, which it wasn't in week 1. I think they would smoke, maybe not smoke, but they would beat Houston now. And yeah, that was before 13 personnel. Let's see. If the Steelers lose, they will definitely be called the Stillers, as some pronounce the name. There you go. That's funny. That's really funny. Mike McDaniel got fired yesterday. So add that to our list of coaches looking for a job. And then everyone's talking about John Harbaugh going there. Harbaugh should sit back for a year. If he doesn't want to take the Raider job, that's where I'd go if I wanted to go, if I went anywhere, because I do believe it's going to get better. I do believe. I believe with Spytek and Brady and those guys, I do believe it's going to get better in Raiderland. And I would want to go where Fernando Mendoza goes. And I did read something did anyone read anything more about Dante Moore coming out I originally heard it was positive he was coming back, but someone is like encouraging him to go. And then I actually saw a mock draft that had him going first and then Mendoza going second. And anybody can flame out. I think one of the things that eliminates the flame out of a first round pick at that high is first check their character. Maybe they're not going to be the greatest guy in the world, but check their character. Tua's not the greatest player in the world. Of course, he wasn't number one overall, but good character guy. So you didn't have any of those extra issues to worry about. Unlike Johnny Manziel, not number one overall, but we know what we mean. Is that you got other issues that come into play. Even Cam Newton, I'll say, who was number one overall, besides holes in his game that became more and more apparent as his talent decreased because of all the hits he took. He never got better. You could tell there was other things, other focuses in his life than football. And so if you draft Mendoza, I think you got everything else. I don't think you have to worry about him being a major bust. Maybe a disappointment, but I don't even think that. I'd want to go where Mendoza goes if I'm John Harbaugh. So throw that one out there. Let's see what we got. Let's see. But I do want the winner to beat Miami. I've never been a Miami fan. You know what? I was never a Hurricane fan. But I just like the idea of them being back. I think it's good for football. I think it's good for the ACC. It would be really good if Notre Dame went to the ACC along with join Miami there, a rebuilt Florida State. Belichick hopefully does something with North Carolina. And then you've got a triune there, right? You've got the Big Ten, you got the SEC, and then you got the ACC. So there's strong conferences. And then you get out some of the weaker sisters, right? I really do think there should be – they really should just limit these things to the Power Five. And such, because it just is what it is. I like James Madison, but James Madison really, and stuff. And, these conferences, they should go into a confederation together to where they get their own commissioner. They have a computer or whatever come out and do their schedule for them, just because that way when someone doesn't make the playoffs, it's because they didn't make the playoffs. It's just like, Baltimore didn't make the playoffs because they weren't chosen. Baltimore didn't make the playoffs because they sucked, right? And the same you could be said with about a whole bunch of other teams. It's not a case of well, they're a good team, we think they're good. It's not a case of think. It's a case of what you see on the field, what is taking place, what the results are. So yeah, I would definitely want that. I think the Giants is the best job for Harbaugh. They seem further along than the Raiders. I agree with you, except I think the upside of Fernando Mendoza is higher than Jackson Dart, and I'm pro Jackson Dart. I know Steeler fan Rob is pro Jackson Dart after whiffing on that pick. They should have brought him in, but Dart's got a little growing up to do in terms of he's got to stay in the pocket. He's got to get down. He's got to stop playing tough guy, or otherwise it's going to be a short career for him. Juice man, you can't call me a legend. It's too soon. But look who it is, the legend himself. Let's go Ramley. Again, guys, thank you for that, though. Come on, guys, let's get the likes up. Again, a reminder, there goes that are just tuning in. I am ending this show. I'm going to end this in 20 minutes because I want to do a full show tomorrow. I've got too much stuff going on right now, and I don't want to push into game time, right? I don't want to butt up against the national semifinal. So Manny Correa, what is happening? So let me ask you this real quick because I am working on this. I posted this at midvalleysports.com, www.midvalleysports.com. I don't work there. I was one of the founding guys there. I left. My friends run it, but we put up a poll, and I help them out every once in a while, just log rolling. But there's a poll up there suggesting what the Rams should do with their 2 first-round picks. If you want to check on that after the show, please vote in the poll, and I'd be curious to get a vibe as we head into this new year and head to the new NFL season, even as the Rams keep playing. I'm not going to do mock drafts or anything like that, really. until we get past the Rams run this postseason. And but I'd like to see what you want the Rams to do. Pick number 13, pick number 24. Right now it's 24. 24 will be flexible because of what the Rams do. If they lose tomorrow, it's 24. But if they win, it just keeps climbing higher or falling back. My feeling is you hold on to 13 and you keep moving back. I did see, I think it was Cam DeSilva put up a link today. Of course, I didn't click on. He put up a link on RamsWire, or maybe it was just his handle. He put up a link that showed Tristan Chambliss from Ole Miss, and he said with the 32nd pick, which if the Rams are picking 32nd, that means they're Super Bowl champs. And it said with the 32nd pick, they're taking Tristan Chambliss. Would you roll that dice? Would you draft Tristan Chambliss with the 32nd pick if the Rams still hold on to it? I think that would be awesome. Let's see. All right. Some say the Lions should be in the playoffs than the 8 and 9 Panthers. Yeah, that's a great argument, but you didn't do it in your division, right? You didn't do what you had to do, and that's just what it is. I totally get it. I think the Lions are a better team than the Panthers, but that's exactly what it is. But if you get it done by results on the field, then there's none of that debate about whether Miami barely made it in. Could you imagine if Miami had been left out? ESG, if Indiana and Miami end up playing each other, it's going to be Mendoza, the Miami boy, beating his neighborhood university. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, what a great story, though. But I think that's the best matchup. I mean, I'm not anti-Oregon. And I think if Oregon made it to the finals, I'd almost be rooting for Oregon because I'd like to see them get over the hump. Old Pac-12 loyalties there. But yeah, that was a great game last night. And these are going to be a great game tonight. Juice Man, oh, that's fine. You're going to be live after the game or during. I'm going to be live before the game, about 8:30 here on the West Coast. So, and then if I get a chance to come on afterwards, I will. It's just Saturdays are hard for me as I get ready for the day job on Sunday. Mikey Gutierrez, Trinidad Chambliss definitely passes the character test. He would make our team even more likable than it already is. But yeah, think about it. You win. You got pick number 13, right? 32 is almost a gift, right? You could be creative with 13, and you draft Chambliss at 32. You sit him for a year behind Stafford. If Stafford decides to keep playing, if Stafford decides to retire, I think you retain Jimmy G for a year as the bridge quarterback, and you run from there. And then you use 13 on Mekhi Lemon because you got to get this guy somebody. Could you imagine if the Rams walked out of the 2026 draft with their 2 first-round picks and they got Mekhi Lemon and Trinidad Chambliss? I think we'd all dance with that. $5 Steve, I was originally thinking we should trade 13 for a 2027 first-round pick, but getting Lemon would make our wide receivers next year sick. Yeah, especially if you bring back Devontae Adams, if he doesn't retire, you bring back him. You got Puka. Terrence Ferguson will be another year developed, and then you bring in a Mekhi Lemon. Yeah, I think that would be scary. And again, Rams, when you see a mock draft that says Rams are going to draft a tackle, the Rams' number one need is a tackle, you are looking at a mock draft that is lazy and not doing their homework. There you go. All right, 1 minute left here, guys. Juice Man. Yep, before the game. Let's go. I can't wait. Thank you. All right, yeah. Let's see. I just worry about Chambliss's small sample size. I agree. It's just that it was at a higher level. That's the only thing I can say. It was just at a higher level. It was at the SEC. But no, there's always going to be that risk. I totally agree with you. USA Expat, before the draft, you nail the free agency period. Yeah, we can have a lot of fun talking about the free agency period. $81 million to play with in the cap. And Max Crosby just had his knee cleaned up. So I looked at that poll before I took it down, and it was about 51% say make the trade for Max Crosby. All right, guys, I'm going to run because this game is going to be cranking up, and I want to be ready for tomorrow. So God bless, take care, And we are going to get this thing, new theme. We're going to get this thing done. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out.